Hello YouTube, welcome to this YouTube video. Today we are going to be watching Bo playing Graves in EU West soloQ. If you don't know who Bo is, he is currently ranked 2 on EU West with a 66% win rate. And yeah, in my opinion, the best jungler in the entire world. And luckily, Bo is playing some of the same champions that I enjoy playing. And today we're going to be watching him play Graves. I unfortunately couldn't get any of the games from his OP2GG, so I therefore went onto YouTube, and Super Carry luckily had a video, so shout out to Super Carry, and we're just going to be taking a look at his game. So the runes are on screen: Fleet Footwork, Triumph, Alacrity, Last Stand, Zombie Ward, and Treasure Hunter. And something that is very important about Bo's Graves playstyle is the fact that he does not buy any potions. I learned this very recently. Oh wow, River looks very different when you play with high settings compared to low settings, Jesus Christ. But yeah, Bo doesn't go refillable potion on Graves. He just goes jungle item, and the last 150 gold he simply doesn't spend. And in terms of what he's building, from what I've seen, he typically will go for Umbelglaive into Gore Drinker into Black Cleaver, and then just stacking as much CDR as possible. So yeah, he starts with Red Trinket, planned on invading the Talon, which is kind of smart because Talon plays without flash. So if they can simply get on top of the Talon, he can't really escape because he doesn't have flash, and typically Talon will start with, I believe it's W in jungle, so he tried, but it was warded, and it failed, and now he's just gonna go back to his own jungle. Starts with red buff, which is pretty normal. Nothing too crazy about that. And then from what I've seen, he actually doesn't do Crux, which is very different from the way that I play Graves. So I will try and copy his pathing. So once again here, he completely skips the Crux, goes red into Raptors. And he's just so smooth with Graves, it's insane. And then I believe he will go into the Wolves and then Grump and then Blue. In case he would need level 3 really fast, I think he would just go for the Grump, because that will give him level 3 instantly, and then he can go for the gank. But in this situation it's not really needed, because top lane is pushing in and mid lane is pushing in, and there is not really a dive potential on either the Gragas or the Yone as of right now. That's why he's not rushing the level 3. So yeah, he does the Wolves into Grump, and the reason why he does that is because by the time he clears next time, there's not going to be a blue buff, so if he did Wolves into Blue, into Grump, then there would be a delay between the Wolves and the Grump, whereas if you do Wolves and Grump first and then the Blue after, then on the next jungle rotation, Wolves and Grump will spawn right after each other instantly. So he's done 5 camps so far, 15 seconds onto the Skullcrab, and he decides to invade on the top side. Realizes that Raptors are gone, nothing to invade, so he goes back to the top scuttle. And I would not be surprised if he would be looking for something on top lane, right here. But he does not, he simply just recalls. Does he have Serrated Dirk then? No, he goes for a double longsword and a control ward. And then he goes into spot side. I could imagine that he will just go farm his Crux. And then there won't be too long until his Raptor spawns, but he will have some time where he could look for something in terms of gank or invading. Smites the Crux, gets level 4. So far he hasn't really done anything too crazy different from me. Obviously he didn't go refillable and he skipped Crux on the first rotation. But those are the only two things he's done differently compared to what I would do if I was playing Graves. So he clears the Raptors, puts a controller down for his mid laner in Pixel Bush, so that Kai'Sa can feel a little bit more safe. Also because Talon just cleared his bot side because that's where he started. So just in case Talon tries to go from his also recently killed jungle camp into mid lane, he would have to go through bot lane. The ward gets put on Raptors and Graves decides to invade it. He does have smite. Does end up also securing it. I think if Bo didn't have smite, he probably wouldn't have went for this invade. Does some damage onto the Yone here. Shoves the wave in with the Kai'Sa. Talon right now has a small XP lead, Talon being level 5 and Bo only being level 4, but in the next jungle camp he will also hit level 5. Talon was pathing towards bot, Bo continues to clear upwards of his jungle pathing. Talon gets a kill on bot side. Now Talon is ahead in gold and maybe slightly ahead in experience as well. And Bo simply decides to recall. He will be building in towards his Umbral Glaive, goes for Sarita Dirk and Longsword. And then he wants to play towards the Scuttercrab that spawns on bot side. Or will he just go to Crux? Just gonna do the Crux. The control ward also got cleared. He smites the Crux here, so he definitely won't contest the Scuttercrab. I don't think at least. And here we see Talon, he is level 6, he does have a level lead on Bo. Bo is kinda here just to cover, in case the enemy team goes too deep. Will he go on to Sona? He will go. Can he finish it though? No. Bo is one jungle camp off level 6, he's still hovering around bot lane here. I guess that he kinda assumed that Talon was gonna be gone from bot lane, so he's setting up for a potential dive here. I think he just showed here. But they must know that Bo now is in bot side and they do decide to back off. Maybe if Bo was level 6 or could somehow tag some XP. Does end up facing the Talon on his red buff and he actually kills him on a red buff here, despite being a level down. That's kind of surprising. So now he's level 6. And he is now somewhat even with the Talon because he now also got a kill back. He will most likely also have his Umbral Glaive just like Talon does on this base. He decides to cancel his recall. He's looking towards mid lane. He's just gonna tax the XP from the tower. Yeah. That way he levels up. Flashes onto Yone over the wall. Forces the Yone flash and ultis to finish him off. Okay. Very aggressive play here. But as long as Yone doesn't have ulti, we saw him use his ult, and as long as he doesn't have his knock-up Q, which is a dash, then there isn't really a way for Yone to escape from a Graves with red buff and flash. So now Bo is ahead in both XP and gold. Talon just hit level 7 here. Is Bo gonna try to stop the Talon? He's actually gonna go all in here. He will simply kill the Talon. Very surprising that Bo is still playing aggressive. Must have a ton of gold right now. Decides to recall. Will he cancel it another time? No. He recalls by Umbral Glaive and tier 1 boots and a pickaxe that he will then build in towards a Iron Spike and Gourd Ranker. And he's then pathing into his top side because he has 3 top side camps up right now and only 1 on bot side. He doesn't really care too much about the Scutter Crab. Question is, will he then play towards the Rift Herald? Once again, he clears the wolves first and then the grump, and after that the blue buff, just so that they spawn in the right order without any delays in between camps. He hits level 9 and then he plays for the Rift Herald. Okay. He takes the Rift Herald without Smite, which could be a little bit risky if Talon is on top side. But even then, because Bo is not playing with Cosmic Insight, that simply means that Talon is going to have his upgraded Smite before Bo is going to have his upgraded Smite, because Bo does not play with Cosmic Insight. So even if he had Smite, it wouldn't really matter too much, because Talon's Smite would be 900 and Bo's Smite would be 450 anyway. So him starting without having Smite or having Smite does not really matter too much against a jungler who's playing with Cosmic Insight. He goes straight from Rift Herald in towards bot. Talon ends up dying. He actually ultis to gap closer towards the Sona because he still has his red buff that slows. And managed to finish off the Sona. Very interesting way of playing here. And instantly, as soon as the kill is done, his red buff expires. I very rarely will see a Graves use his ulti to gap close like that. And I'm almost sure that the only reason why he did it was because he did have red buff, which would give him the constant slow onto the Sona. That would allow him to constantly auto the Sona down to low enough HP that he could then Q and finish off the Sona. But a very unique way that Bo plays Graves. And it's just almost fascinating watching this guy play Graves, because he's so good at both jungle, but also all the champions he's playing, he just has really good mechanics on. It looks so smooth whenever he's playing these champions. So he did get first tower on bot side, and he did not decide to recall, which I find very interesting here. He goes towards mid lane. Will he just help his mid lane clear? No, he will just pass by. Will he walk towards top lane because his top laner just died and catch the XP? Or will he just take his top side camps? He decides to take his top side camps instead. I'm not too sure why he did not decide to reset after he had gotten first tower, or why he did not play for the Drake. But I'm assuming this is just the way that Bo likes to play around tempo, that he would rather constantly kill his camps and have them be on cooldown and higher level each time, rather than taking a objective that doesn't really matter too much. Now he'll play towards bot side, because his bot side camps are spawning, and maybe he will then play for the Drake after he's cleared his bot side camps. Seri took the Crux, so only 2 camps left for Bo to take. Smites the red buff, meets Talon in the jungle, in the bot river. And he simply doesn't care, he just starts the Drake while Talon is in river. Does end up surviving, he was very close. He also didn't have smite at the time that the fight started. So he did not have the chance to ulti the Drake or the Talon, and then he does get ulted by Yone and ends up dying. And the enemy team gets Drake. But his team ends up winning the fight. Bo now has completed his Gourd Drinker, and it is once again a little bit interesting that he is not really rushing boots too early. He would rather have a bunch of completed items rather than having boots completed, which I don't really see too often either, so it will be exciting to try out all of these smaller differences that Bo does when he's playing Graves compared to when I play Graves or many other players play Graves. He decides to walk into bot or top river here instead of going into his jungle camps. Not really too sure what he's looking for here. Get some deep vision, a little bit awkward synergy between Bo and the Yuumi, double controlled in the bush. And now he's gonna go back to farming, gonna get level 11 here of 1 or 2 jungle camps. Does have 2 smite stacks right now. Will he use one of them on blue? Yeah, he will. And then instantly Scuttlecrab spawns, he can then take it. And he is then gonna hover around his top lane Kai'Sa rather than taking his bot side camps. Just waiting for the Yone to go back with his E. He's actually tower diving the Yone right now, and he does actually end up killing it. Because he has level 11 and 2 point is in his ulti now. Almost like Bo knew that Yone was gonna go all in on Kai'Sa here in this situation. He was just ready to be part of that fight. Takes the tower and decides to recall. Will he upgrade his boots now? Does go for plated steel caps now, and then his next item should be a black cleaver. That is typically what he ends up buying. So right now, barely 1k gold lead in favor of blue team, and I'm sure that most of that gold lead is on Bo right now, because he is sitting at 5 and 1. Now he's just clearing vision, because he does have Umbral Glaive, and he also has Zombie Ward. That's kind of the reason why he goes Umbral Glaive first, is because he has Zombie Ward. Or vice versa, that he knows he wants to go Umbral Glaive first, so why not have Zombie Ward to get some extra vision. Puts down some more vision and spots out Yone on side lane. Decides to instantly collapse on it. And it is almost gonna be impossible for Yone to escape from a red buff Graves. And once again, he does this trick where he ultis as a gap closer, just so he can auto. And once again, he has red buff just to slow the enemy. We haven't seen him do it without red buff, so it seems like he only does it with red buff. And he's very thoughtful of when he's gonna use R as a gap closer and when he's gonna use it for actual damage onto his opponent. Are they gonna finish the tower here? Or ends up tanking it because he used W onto the Gragas. And I think blue team will just end up backing off. No! Bo goes head first into the enemy Gragas. Kills the Sona. Still chasing. And decides to take the Scuttlecrab. And maybe also the Rift Herald next. Yeah. Decides to stop the Rift Herald because there's a fight happening in mid lane that he wants to be part of now that he has everything up. He doesn't have red buff this time, so he'll probably not use his ult as a gap closer if he has the chance to. He'll probably use it for damage instead this time. Flashes forward. Still has red smite. Uses it. Kills the Gragas. Will he also chase down the MF? Sees that Talon is also here. Isn't really scared. Still going straight into the enemy. Talon jumps over. Kills the Talon instantly. And secures first strike for blue team. Instead of instant recalling with the gold he got from the kill, he realizes that He's just forced the enemy team away from the Drake, and he's just killed Gragas and Talon, so he's instantly going into the bot side to take some jungle camps. There's no way Bo is gonna go across the lane here. Bo is crazy here for taking this fight. But he doesn't care, like he is literally right. He's taking this fight 2v3 in between tier 1 and tier 2 tower, which are both up, and he simply doesn't care and ends up getting a 3-4-0. This guy is so insanely good. I would never done it. I would not have the balls to do it. But this guy is a different beast, man. He is so crazy good at the game. Now he has insane amount of gold. Black Cleaver is completed. Goes for a Hex Drinker that he will then go and upgrade into Maw. I'm actually not sure why he's going for a Hex Drinker into Maw here. I'm surprised that he's not going an armor item, because they have Talon, Yone and MF who are doing a lot of AD damage. I know a lot of armor comes from Graves having a lot of E stacks, and maybe that is why Bo doesn't really prioritize having the armor, because he's simply so good at keeping up his E stacks that he doesn't need armor from items. He simply has it from his kit, and then he obviously just needs MR because he can't get any MR from his kit. But I'm not 100% sure. But it would be my best guess as of to why. Forces the Talon down to low HP and instantly starts the Baron. Will he turn? He decides to just turn the fight. Kills the Sona. Gonna chase down the Gragas now. Jhin hooks him up with a snare, and then that's another kill for Bo. And they are probably just gonna redo the Baron now, after getting 2 kills. Yep, they're gonna start the Baron again. Interesting to see Bo taking Baron from kinda the back end of the pit, which typically does more damage, while the rest of his team is in front of the Baron. Not really sure why he's doing that either. I just noticed that I personally don't do that on any jungler almost, because I don't really want to take that extra bit of damage from the back end of the pit. Graves does have insane healing, and especially with the Yuumi on top of him. Maybe he doesn't mind taking the extra damage if it means that the rest of his team is taking less damage. He spots the Yone on the side lane once again. We have seen this before. And last time he got a kill. This time he is not gonna get a kill. Instant recalls. Will he upgrade his Hex Ring into Multiple Mortis? He will. Gets another control ward. Clears out vision once again. And it's a Gragas. Kai'Sa's going all in. Bo takes the kill with his ult. Kai'Sa a bit tilted with 0 kills, wants to flash for a kill, and Bo just takes it because he's alpha as fuck. Nothing Kai'Sa can do about it. Kai'Sa is gonna get carried, no matter if Kai'Sa likes it or not. Bo will 1v9 the game himself, he doesn't need help, outside of Yuumi maybe. Bo just casually standing in the middle of enemy base. Goes in to Talon and MF. Flashes onto Talon. Still tanking the towers. Can't quite finish the MF off because he's hiding behind minions where Graves autos can't really do damage. And will Bo just end the game? Nope. He won't end it quite yet. Wanna make sure that Talon has absolutely nothing to farm. Takes all his jungle camps. Maximizes the amount of XP and gold he can get. Tries to fall back to do Skullcrab and Drake. Should be able to hit level 16 off Drake. There it is. So it's recall, and then are we gonna see a frozen heart? Yes, it is a frozen heart last item for Bo. Right now there are not really any jungle objectives to play for, so Bo is kinda just chilling. The Baron buff has run out. He does end up seeing a Talon on side lane. Uses the Hex Tech portal to get there. But Talon has a bit too much mobility for Bo to catch up to him and kill him. And the reason why he's not going mid lane here is because that mid lane inhib is already down, so there's no point really grouping up in mid lane. There's no point in going ARAM mode. So I actually like the fact that he's going on side lane here. Doesn't really matter if it's top or bot lane. Arguably slightly better to do it in top lane, due to the fact that Baron will spawn before the Drake will. Bo is simply face tanking the tower so that the cannon minion doesn't tank, because as soon as the cannon minion dies, Bo is gonna do less damage onto the tower. Instead he would rather face tank with the healing from Yuumi. Also something that I personally wouldn't have done. I would simply be too scared to be face tanking the tower for that many hits. But Bo simply just doesn't care. Like, he's in the middle of 4 people right now and just casually gets a quadra kill. This guy just knows the limits of this champion to perfection almost, it seems like. He does not make a lot of mistakes, and he will punish you every single time that you make one. And then he just ends up ending the game. Pretty much single-handedly carrying the game. With a bit of help from Yuumi, but not too much help from the rest of his team. And yeah, I mean, this guy's just a complete beast on in the jungle. So if you enjoyed the video, remember to like. If you have any questions as of to how Bo is playing Graves and you feel like I didn't explain it, then leave in the comment section down below, and then always subscribe so you don't miss out on future YouTube videos. And yeah, let me know if you guys want me to spectate one of either his Diana games or Arctis games. He also plays a decent amount of Viego and Wukong. So yeah, let me know if you want me to spectate one of those as well. And then I just want to say thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys in my next YouTube video or on my next live stream on Twitch. See you guys.